Dudes and dudettes, we're switching up the vibes. We're around the campfire tonight. And I thought, we're around a fire. What better story to tell than a lady who got set on fire 3 times? So, today we're talking about Joan of Arc, known in her native language as Jeanne d'Arc. So here, let's set the scene. We're in the early 1400s, right? Joan's probably around 5 years old when King Henry V wins the Battle of Agincourt. That's a story for another day. We'll get to that one, don't worry. But we're talking about Joan today. So Joan is this poor, illiterate, peasant French girl from like the smallest town you could ever think of in France, the middle of nowhere. And she's around 17 years old when she gets a vision from God of Archangel Michael and 2 saints who were martyred in the early 500s. And they tell her, you are the virgin woman of prophecy. Now, Liam, what do you mean by the virgin woman of prophecy? In France, there was a belief, a prophecy, that a virgin girl would expel the English from French land. So at the time, we're in the middle of the 100 Years' War. And not only are we in the middle of the 100 Years' War, we're also in the middle of a French civil war between the king's brother and the king's cousin trying to become the king of France. So we're in a 3-way, right? Joan's in the middle of a 3-way. She's at 17 and God gives her this vision and tells her, Joan, you're going to expel the English from France. So Joan, being the woman that she is, 100% believes in this vision and gives everything she has to this vision. She somehow convinces 2 knights to protect her and take her side. And she requests a summoning with Charles. Charles was not the king yet, spoiler alert. But Charles was like, okay, so this illiterate peasant French teenage girl is telling me that she needs to summon a court appearance with me. Like, okay, no shot. That's not happening. Get away from me, you illiterate peasant girl. But Joan is like, no, like, you have to listen to me. You're about to suffer a terrible, terrible defeat. You need to listen to me. And he reads this letter and he says, just the ramblings of a crazy illiterate peasant girl. And that very same day, on the complete opposite side of France, Charles loses his entire army to the English and gets routed. So Charles is starting to be like, oh, maybe this Joan girl might be right. I mean, she literally predicted my demise. And he is desperate, you guys. We're talking like he's got nowhere else to turn in France other than this illiterate peasant girl. So he summons a court appearance with her. She comes. She gets tested by all of the priests. They quiz her on all of the theology. Again, she cannot read. She's never read the Bible in her life. She absolutely nails every single one of their questions. Absolutely nails them. And then she asks Charles, the English and the enemy French side are holed up in Orleans. For all of you that know about New Orleans, we're talking about OG Orleans back in France. And basically, if the French can't take Orleans, there will be no more France. France will implode, and the world will look a lot different than it does today. But Joan somehow convinces Charles to give her command of the last of his men, his last army, to go take Orleans. Okay, a 17-year-old, illiterate peasant girl is now leading the last French army against the English. This is where we are at, right? So Joan shows up with her white flag, with her, if anyone knows the New Orleans Saints logo, it was blue. So she had that logo on a white flag. That was her flag. And she basically told all of the soldiers, yeah, I'm ordained by God. We're going to win. And the soldiers believe her. They're a very superstitious type. Shout out to all my soldiers out there. They all believe her. So they start to storm Orleans. On the second day, it was a 4-day battle. On the second day, Joan takes an arrow right through her shoulder. As she's storming the castle walls, 17-year-old girl is leading the charge and storming the walls of Orleans. Takes an arrow right into her shoulder, falls off the wall. Everybody's like, she's dead. The prophecy's over. We're screwed. The English are going to win. Word spreads around the camp that Joan is dead. She goes out there the next day and screams, "To God alone be the glory," in French. So all of the soldiers are hyped up. I mean, the most hyped speech you could ever have. And they flip and take Orleans. And they drive the English out. So everyone believes Joan is this woman of prophecy. And Charles, now King Charles, thanks to our girl Joan, he wants to get rid of her because he wants peace with the English, but Joan does not. She wants them totally gone. So Charles double crosses her and sells her off to the enemy French side, who then sells her to the English. So now she's in English possession. All of the most based theologians throughout Europe come, because Joan has been making waves throughout Europe, they come to test her to see if she's a heretic. Because at the time, my friends, if you claim to have visions from God, and something else I didn't mention, but Joan wore men's clothing, and that's banned. In Leviticus, you're not allowed to cross-dress. So a lot of people were calling Joan a heretic, saying she's a liar. So they all come to test this illiterate peasant girl and to see if she's for real. She absolutely nails all of their questions. She has never read a Bible in her life. She has no idea what it says in here. She absolutely nails every single one of her questions. She proclaims her innocence, but nobody is hearing it. They tie her to a wooden stake, and much like this fire, she burns. 3 times, in fact. 3 times they burned her. So Liam, why do you bring her up? What's the good news there? Well, all of you know her name. She became the symbol for France and their national unity, and eventually they did drive the English out. So technically, Joan's prophecy did come to pass. She was the one who led the charge to kick the English out. Now, I bring this up because we've been talking about a lot, especially this past week, about being a hero, about the little guy, about the nobody doing great things. What better example than a 17-year-old, illiterate, peasant French girl to be the one to lead France, a great nation, to overcoming their biggest enemy of all time and winning the day, right? So whenever you feel down, whenever you feel like you're in a situation that is impossible, that you're just stuck between a rock and a hard place, there's no moving, there's no getting out of it, it's impossible. You're at impossible odds, right? An illiterate peasant French girl drove the English out of her nation because God commanded her to. If your dreams align with the will of God, there is literally nothing in this universe that can stop it if you genuinely believe it. So today's verse of the day, which I think aligns perfectly with what we've been talking about here of Jeanne d'Arc. Everybody pull out their Bibles. We're going to Matthew. We're in Matthew 17. We're in verse 20. He said to them, they're talking about, why can't we cast out demons, Jesus, the apostle? Why can't we cast out demons, Jesus? And he says to them, because of your little faith. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will happen. And nothing will be impossible for you. Have that faith of a mustard seed, just like Joan did, and you can move mountains. You could rout the English from your freaking country. You can do anything. You can fold your laundry. You can tell that girl you love her. You can tell that guy to stop bullying you. You can do anything. You have to believe it. And God, if it aligns with it, will make it happen. I love all of you. I hope you enjoyed the fire vibes. We might switch it up again tomorrow. We'll see, depending on my schedule. I love all of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.